Hey everybody, Eric and Jim here from the Mature Minded Gamers. We are a group of adult gamers who have a passion for gaming in all forms. Today we're talking new games releasing in 2025, and there is quite the list, especially in the first quarter, which is when a lot of these titles that we're going to be talking about are going to come out. There's some that's later on in the year, some of the bigger titles later on, especially GTA 6. It's not supposed to come towards the end of the year. But like I said, most of these we're going to see in Q1, which is the craziest thing to me. This is probably the best Q1 lineup I've ever seen, and we could probably combine the last 5 years together and still not have this good of a lineup. Jim, let's talk a little bit about some of these games coming out. First one I want to talk about is the biggest one on the list, GTA 6. Now, we've both played, I think, all of the GTA games. One thing I do want to mention is a little disappointing to me. GTA 6 is only coming out on consoles so far. It has not been released. No release date for the PC, which the last game, GTA 5, which was, I think, over 10 years old at this point, it did the same kind of thing, and it didn't come out for almost a whole year, I think it was. A year later is when it came out on PC, and that's when I really played it. Now, with that said, I did buy a PlayStation just to play GTA 5 with you guys, and we actually this is the last game I've ever had a LAN party with. We all got together at a friend's house and played this game. It was that good, and it's continued to be that good. I don't know if you've been able to replay it, in the last 5 years or so, but I've been back a few times, and it's really impressed me how much they've added to the game, the things they've changed. So let's talk a little bit about what we hope for GTA 6 and our thoughts on it.
Well, I had gone back to 5. I actually did all the online stuff too. And I went in with some friends and we played hard. I mean, really hard. And we had a lot of fun with it. And I'd never done that. I'd only played the game. And it was a blast. I really enjoyed it. And I played a lot of Rockstar games. And one thing that they are really, really good at, and that's building a world. I mean, even today, if you go back and look at 5, it still holds up pretty well. And I think 6 is going to be amazing, truly. I do think it'll be a very successful game. Their games just seem to get better, at least in my opinion. I don't know that I understand the console first, but, whatever they want to do. What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah. I mean, console is the biggest market still, I think, and that's why they target those. These games are definitely crazy, and this game that new trailer, or not new trailer, but it's been out for a while now. With that trailer, it just looks over the top, which is what you expect from GTA, right? Over the
Yeah,
top
yeah.
craziness. It's taking place in the fictional Florida, I think we decided it was.
Yeah, I
It,
think I think it's supposed to be like near Vice City or but I think it's supposed to be modern day this time. At least that's my guess based on what I've looked at.
yeah, there's according in the trailer, you see a lot of stuff that looks modern, obviously. So I think you're right, and it just looks crazy. And I'm sure, like you said, they make a world like no other. There's going to be so much to do. It's gonna blow up. Don't get me wrong. I have no doubt in that. They've taken their time with it. I think they've been real quiet about release date. They didn't show that trailer till I think it was about a year ago, roughly. We got the trailer maybe. I really do believe they've done that intentionally. Well, one, because GTA 5 is still a cash cow for them, right? It's still
Yeah.
continuously making more money than any other game. It's nuts, and so they have no reason to rush this. They're taking their time. They're doing it right. It's gonna be an amazing game.
Yeah, I really do think it will. I don't think it's going to disappoint.
All right, Jim. Next up, your personal favorite, and one that I'm excited for as well: Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Jim, I'm gonna let you take this from the start because you were a little bit bigger of a fan of it than I was, even though I did love the game. Go ahead.
Well, Kingdom Come, I mean, when I first got it, I did what a lot of people do. I started playing it and then I quit. And I quit for a couple months. And I went back and after reading some articles and watching a few YouTube channels and those sort of things, and I got inspired to go back and attack it and go to the ring, the training arena, and actually learn how to fight. And I had to get my head around the fact that Warhorse Studios, they're not hand holding you on this. This is a hard game. And you've got games like Dark Souls. People play those games because they're hard and challenging. So it might exclude some people because it is a moderately difficult game to get a hold of. But once you do get a hold of it, it's not that bad. They've got a really good story. This one's supposed to be twice as big, and from everything I've seen from videos with the developers, what they're basically doing is it seems like they're fulfilling their wishes for Kingdom Come 1. And they had money issues and time issues back then, and now that Kingdom Come 1 is done so well, they have the money and time to make the game they always wanted to. So they're continuing the story of Henry and Hans and the different people in the game there. And I think it's going to be a really solid game, especially if you like the first one. If you like the first one, I don't think you can go wrong. I think it's going to be something that doesn't let you down, and everything I've seen so far just looks really good.
Yeah, I told you I didn't actually beat it. I played it for a lot of hours. I was trying to do all the side quests because I was really into the game. And it was fun just to adventure. I mean, that's what I liked about that game. You didn't know what was really going to happen, what you were going to encounter. So eventually I got to the point where I got burned out, or another game came out. I think it was a combination of things, and so I didn't quite beat it. And just talking to you and hearing your passion makes me want to go back and actually finish the game. So I may try to do that before Kingdom Come 2 comes out.
I think it would be worth it. Again, I'm on my third playthrough right now. I'm actually playing it again, just to kind of warm up for Kingdom Come 2, and really excited for this because for the longest time we didn't even know if it even existed, if Warhorse was going to continue this, but I'm really happy they are. So we'll see what happens very soon. That one comes out on February 4th, I believe.
All right, next up we're going to talk about is Civilization 7. This is a game I played. I think the very first Civ I ever played was maybe 2. I have played 1 eventually after that because I liked 2. I can't remember. I think it might have even been on, I think I had a 386 computer I was playing it on back in the day. But anyways, I digress. Civ 7 is coming. My favorite of all time is the one with Leonard Nimoy doing the narration, which was Civ 4. And I just have loved the game ever since. Playing multiplayer with friends, even single player is a lot of fun with this game, right? Because it's just different every game. The only downside is sometimes it can be long term. You can't quite get a game finished, which is what we have a lot of problems with in multiplayer. But Civ 7 is doing things a little bit different. So you're not going to be able to stay one leader the whole time as your Civ. They are changing that, which is probably the biggest change they're doing, where every era or every period, whatever they're calling them, you're going to actually advance to a new leader within that faction. So if you're an American, you may start, with the early leader, and then, you'll move from let's go George Washington to start us out, and then eventually you'll move up probably to, maybe Roosevelt or someone, and so forth, whoever the leaders are going to be for that faction. And that's going to happen throughout the game, which I actually like. I know a lot of people are complaining about this, but I actually like that. I hate picking my leader at the start and then being locked into one person. I like that they're different and that it could change your approach every gameplay. I think it just adds another layer to the game personally. I did read where they're going to change religion and it's not going to be as important. I'm fine with that. I never really was a big fan of religion in these games. I felt like, it was a way to win for some people if you wanted to play that. You wanted to have a religious victory, but boy, talk about a boring way to play the game. I just didn't really understand why people would take that approach. Barbarians are supposed to be a lot less of a threat. I don't know. I never really felt like they were much of a threat other than maybe the first 10, 15 turns in a game. It felt like you could pretty easily beat them. But I guess that depends on your difficulties you're playing on and different factors like that. Maybe people like playing that way with hard barbarians. I never did that personally. Those are some of the big changes coming so far in that one. And my biggest thing with Civ, I feel like every game they add one major new feature, maybe another new feature. Like they had archaeology, and I think it was 5 or 6 that was introduced, which was really, really cool. And they kind of do that all the way up. Monuments or great works, I think was that come in 3 or 4, I don't remember, one of them. And so they keep doing this, and I love it. I love that they add to the system. So anyways, Civ 7's coming. I'm very excited. It's actually releasing, I have the date written down here somewhere, February 11th. So, just 2 weeks after Kingdom Come, not even that, 9 days. So a little too close for me to be happy about that because both these games are kind of long-term games, but I'm still excited that we're getting the games at least. And how Civ works, and it always has worked, to be honest, since 3 or 4, DLC is where they keep adding everything. So when you truly want to play a Civ game, you really want to wait, and this is unfortunate, you really want to wait 2-3 years till after it's released. And then you get all these cool DLC that adds everything and tacks it all on and really makes it the full game that feels fun. Like if you go back and play Civ 6 right now, you're going to get the best experience ever. Jim, what's your thoughts on the Civ game?
Have always been Civ adjacent. I've played them, but I've never been a fanatic about them. And I think exactly the reason that you stated in the beginning is why. I like to play with other people. I don't like to play by myself on those kind of games. And it's really a long-term type of game, and sometimes it's hard to get one done. And I found a lot of starting games but never finishing them. So I like them conceptually. I just don't tend to play them.
Right. Nope, completely get it. All right, next up is Assassin's Creed Shadows. This one has been in the works for a while now, and it actually did get delayed. I think originally it was supposed to be out maybe in November of last year, but it got delayed, and now it's coming out here. It's actually February 14th, so we're going to have, if nothing else gets delayed, we're going to have crazy amount of games coming out. So
yes, we are.
It's going to be nuts. And I have personally never been in love with Assassin's Creed series. I've always appreciated them. I've played most of them a little bit. I don't think I've ever. Well, Did I finish Black Flag? I really like Black Flag. It was my favorite. I know it's your favorite too, Jim. We talk about that often.
Black Flag was my favorite one. They could have just cut out all the Assassin's Creed stuff, and I would have loved it more.
Right. And there's been some really big hits. I know this is a series that people love. I mean, and they love it for a reason. They really enjoy the gameplay. It's just not for me. But Jim, any thoughts on Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Well, I played a little bit of the last one, and it was all right. It was the formula, right? It was reasonably solid and all that. The story was okay. I really hope that this one takes some chances, maybe, and leans into the story a little heavier, maybe adds a little bit of... well, they are adding some different stuff, because don't you play as two different characters in this one?
I think so, yep.
So it sounds like maybe they're going to take some chances with this one, so who knows? I mean, we'll have to wait and see. You know, if they strike gold with this one and change some things and, you know, mix it up, yeah, I might get into that. I in the old days when they, you know, like the very first one, I was pretty much into it. I thought it was a very cool game, but I don't know. It's just kind of lost on me a little bit lately about the formula, and it's just kind of, it gets a little sleepy for me, maybe. You know, I'm sure there's people that disagree with me, and that's all right. But personally, I'd like to see them take some chances.
All right, next up, only 4 days later, we're going to get another huge title called Avowed. This is a game that I don't think anybody really knows what to think of it, Jim. We were talking about this earlier. All the trailers look like almost like a completely different game. So I don't know how many different systems Avowed is really going with here, but it looks like it could be either amazing or it could be trash, right? Like, are all these systems Are all these systems fleshed out? Are they all good? Is there going to be that much variety in this game that's going to rock? Or are they all going to be kind of thrown together like Frankenstein, and you know, it's like, it kind of works, and this part's not really fun, and then it kind of, you know, drags the game down. So I'm not really sure what to think of Avowed. I know the first trailer when it came out, 2-3 years ago, I was kind of excited. It looked like a cool RPG, but then I've watched other trailers, and I'm like, is this the same game? Like, I honestly watched the other trailers and thought, did I look up the wrong game? Because this is not what I thought Avowed was. So I don't know. I'm really curious about this game, but I don't know what to think about it.
Well, I watched some videos today just to refresh my memory, and it does look cool, and it looks interesting. I like RPGs. I like fantasy a lot. And what gives me hope, and why I think maybe it'll be a cool game, is Obsidian's doing it. And they're the ones that make Grounded and Outer Worlds, and I like both those games. They're solid games. So hopefully, you know, it comes through, and it's a really cool RPG fantasy game for us. They talk about the Steam description of having political elements in it too, so you know, maybe it's going to be a little story heavy as well. We'll see.
All right, next up we're going to talk about Mafia: The Old Country. This is a game that, the first Mafia came out in the early 2000s, I believe, And me and Jim were both talking earlier about this. It was like the first open world GTA almost. I mean, it wasn't completely open world, but you could. It was a little bit.
It was pretty open though.
Right.
I mean, it was way bigger and more open than any game had ever done that I can recall.
Especially with that kind of setting and world. I mean, this game you could hop. You could run through town, hop in your car and drive. I mean, this game did a lot of crazy stuff I'd never really seen. And it was just a lot of fun. And I remember playing it with my buddy. I mean, this is, early 2000s, so didn't have any kind of multiplayer. But we were talking. We were both playing the game, and we would talk about, what happened. What do you think? What are you doing? And I remember both getting stuck. There's this mission where you have to drive the race car. Do you remember that? Oh, my gosh.
I got stuck there, too.
I almost quit the game at that point, and I was really enjoying that game. I did finally beat it, though, and I did beat that whole game. And I remember really enjoying it. And did you play Mafia 2 or 3, Jim?
I did, and I didn't get through them all the way.
Same here. I don't know if it was such a long time period in between. They kind of, at that point, there was already a ton of other games in that genre and doing the same thing better, And so I never really got hooked into them. I think I played them all at least a decent while, but I don't think I ever beat the other two. And I think 3, it got hit real hard with bad reviews and stuff, and I don't think I really gave it a fair shake until after, and then like at that point GTA 5 was out, and it's like, I'll just go play this, if I want that experience. But I mean, this game is going back, right? The time span, because the newer ones were moving up in dates, I believe. Well, I don't know about
one was the 1970s, right? And the other one was World War II era, like 40s, I think, or 50s. I think it was after the war, so maybe late 40s.
Okay.
Yeah. Back to the old country.
Yeah, the old country.
Of the mob, basically.
Right, and it looks, I don't know if they've said the time frame for it necessarily, but it looks like, I don't know, early 1900s is kind of what I was thinking.
That's what I'm guessing too, yeah.
Yeah, and it just looks like it's going back to their roots, where it's very mafia heavy, less gangster heavy, I guess, if that makes sense. I mean, I know those terms are kind of interchangeable, but I think of more of like, when I think of the mafia, I think of the older mafia had more class, right? More class. They handle things differently. I mean, they still murder people like shit, but I don't know. I'm more excited for this game than I was for 2 or 3. That's for sure.
Yeah, I am too. I like that they're going back to the roots, and I think I'm really going to enjoy it. The first one was so fun, getting in that old car, and you had shootouts with your Tommy guns, and I don't know. It was just so exciting.
The next one is my personal favorite, Orcs Must Die, DeathTrap. This game, I didn't even know it was coming out until recently. I don't think they've been keeping it under wraps, or either I've been completely missing it. But I love the Orc Must Die series. I played all of them, even the MMO that was kind of short-lived. I think it lasted a couple years. But 3 or 4, what was the last one to come out? Was it called 3, Jim?
Yeah, I just finished it, actually. I just went through it, so yeah, it was 3.
Yeah, I played it 2 different times, and we played it actually on the Stadia. So when the Stadia came out, it was a release title for the Stadia. Me and my one buddy who had a Stadia, that was like the game that we played. We played it all the way through and beat it. And then they've put out a couple of DLCs since then, and we rebought it. But we were still having a blast, even though it was our second playthrough on it. That game's it's just fun to play cooperative and work out little mini strategies to beat a level. And okay, we're letting the guy through at round 12 of 15 here. We got to get more flying defense in, or we got to get more of this type of damage in that's going to take these giant trolls down faster. It's just fun strategizing, spending your money in the right spots to work together with your partner to try to stop it. I think the first one was solo. I didn't think it had cooperative. I think 2 is when cooperative came in. I don't know, it's a lot of fun. It's the way I would definitely recommend playing these. This one's coming out January 28th, so very, very, very soon. And I'm super excited to check it out, because the trailer made it look like a lot of fun. Looks like it had like a graphical overhaul, and that game already didn't look bad at all. The latest one looked really good, and it's kind of like cartoonish characters if you haven't seen it before. Definitely check it out. It's called Orcs Must Die, DeathTrap.
Yeah, it's basically a tower defense game where you're actually in the world, right?
Absolutely, yep. All right, the next game we're going to talk about is Fable. This is a big release, and I have not been a huge Fable fan myself, just because I never really played them. It was originally an Xbox game, and I never got into the original Xbox gaming much. But Jim, I know you did. Do you want to talk a little bit about the newest Fable?
Well, yeah, I've been with Xbox since the beginning. And Fable was one of the first games that I truly fell in love with on that platform. And played every one. I was a land baron in Fable 3. I owned everything. Um, you could buy properties and all that sort of stuff in that one if you haven't played it. And I'm excited about Fable 2025 coming, but I'm also very confused. Lionhead's gone, the company that made the original one. They've been shut down, so they're not involved anymore. And now they have this British development company called Playground Games who does all the Forza games. So they're known for Forza, which is good. They make great racing games, but I'm just a little concerned about what they're going to do with this one. And it's really hard to tell by any of the trailers what we're going to get. So I want it to be great. I want to go run around in the world some more and enjoy it. And I hope they capture the feel and make it better. I just don't know. So yeah, I'd be curious to see what other people think about this in comments or something, because this is one I really want to be a great game, but I just don't know.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and I wasn't quite sure what to think of it, to be honest.
Uh huh.
It looks like it was trying to be too cute almost. So we'll see what they do with it. The last Fable we played, Jim, do you remember that? It was in like 2016, I think it was. That Fable Legends game that was going to be the free to play game.
Uh
And
huh.
we played like a early, it was alpha or beta of it. I don't remember now exactly. We neither one of us were very excited for it. I suppose it didn't really do much. And then they end up canceling the game, and like you said, they canned the studio.
Yeah, I think that might have been the last thing they worked on, and it's too bad because I think Lionhead was an interesting company, but yeah, that game I don't know where it was going. I think they were trying to be something they weren't.
If I agree with that. All right, next up we have a game that I know me and Jim are both very excited about. Space Engineers 2. This was just recently announced. Came out of nowhere. I think right before the Game Awards or maybe right after the Game Awards. I can't remember exactly. All of a sudden a trailer dropped and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And yeah, it was Space Engineers 2, and this is a game Space Engineers 1 that's been out for 10 years probably, Jim, I bet. I didn't look up the time. It's been a while. I remember playing it back in the day and
Yeah.
it was amazing. It was one of the first games that let you like fully engineer things and all that. So, Jim, what do you think about this?
I I didn't know it was coming either. I just learned this 7 days ago. Release date's January 27th, so it's coming soon. I love engineering things. I like building things, and Space Engineers was right up my alley, except for the learning curve. It was pretty heavy. Um, and what excites me about Space Engineers 2, outside of maybe getting some more Space Engineers, is it looks like maybe by their trailer and the things they're saying that they've made it a little more user accessible, yet still keeping it Space Engineers. I hope that's the case. Um, I'd like to get more people into it and get a server set up and build some ships and have some fun.
Yeah, that's one thing we wanted to do. I remember we had two factions going, and we were like
Uh
building
huh.
our own ships, and we were gonna have a big battle. And I think we had little skirmishes. Maybe I don't think we ever had the big battle. I don't think any of us ever got built up for the big battle. But yeah, that was cool. That was early game, and I know it's changed quite a bit. More of survival aspects added to it. I believe you can go to planets and stuff, which wasn't in the game when we first started playing. So yeah,
Yeah.
I am excited for two, and I kind of echo what you say. I hope they've simplified some things a little bit, maybe cleaned up some of the bugs. I remember it getting very server intensive at times if you had too many things happening at once. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with two.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I really hope it's got a lot of the charm and everything that made Space Engineers great, but tighten it up, polish it up, and make it more accessible.
All right, next up we have a big one, Borderlands 4. I know this is a very popular title for a lot of people, and I have personally beat 1, 2, and 3 of Borderlands. Though on the third one, I do remember I was playing with some buddies, and it kind of got to be a little bit of a slosher at the end. We were all getting kind of tired. We just wanted to beat the game because if you've never played a Borderlands before, these are very much alike. All these games, they're all shooter looters, which is fine in their own way. They all have crazy characters doing crazy shit. I mean, that's what Borderlands is, right? And this 4 doesn't look like it's changing a damn thing. And so while that's cool and I gotta admire it a little bit, I don't know how excited I am for it. Jim, what are your thoughts on Borderlands 4?
I played them too, and I played the first one, and I liked it quite a bit. I played it with my brothers, and we had a good time. But even that one towards the end got a little, all right, you know, just picking up more and more gear and getting better gear, and some people really like that, and I think maybe I want a little more story. Um, and you know how we talked about Assassin's Creed kind of having a formula, and it kind of is getting a little stale. I feel that way about Borderlands right now. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm super excited. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they break out of the formula and it's, a little more interesting, I think, than the other ones. But then you also got to take it from another perspective. Maybe I'm asking too much of it. Sometimes people just want to play a game where they blow crap up and they collect weapons and they run around with people and they make things happen. Sometimes that's enough. So I don't know. Maybe it's just not my cup of tea.
All right, next up we have Dune Awakening. This is a game that I'm really excited about. This is from Funcom, the company who brought you Conan Exiles, which is the very same style of game, right? Conan came out about 6, 7 years ago at this point, and I think it's probably been the number one sandbox game. It and Ark have been fighting back and forth, I'd say, but Conan was always a little bit more polished than Ark, coming from a bigger publisher, in my opinion. And I've really enjoyed both those games. Don't get me wrong, but I think Conan's a little bit more of my favorite personally. And this is, I mean, it's going to be Dune Awakening. It's going to be Conan style in the Dune world. I'm very excited for it. They've also I know I follow them pretty closely. I know there's been a couple delays. They're trying to get things right. They're trying to tighten the ship. And I don't think we have an actual release date other than supposed to be out this year. But I know at one point it was supposed to be out last year, maybe even a year before. I know it's been delayed a couple times. But I'm very excited for Dune Awakening. I think it's going to really bring the next level to the whole survival genre game. And since like Arc 2 has been MIA for the last 2 or 3 years, I don't know what the heck's happening there, but they've just dropped the ball with that. And so I'm very excited for Dune Awakening to see what they do. I think Funcom as a company really has their pulse on how to handle these games, and I've had really good interactions with the community, so I'm very, very excited for Dune Awakening. Now, Jim, I know you like these games as well, but do you have any thoughts on this one?
Well, I don't have many thoughts on the new one because I don't know that much about it because I didn't know they were doing it. I actually came to Conan late. I would say about, I don't know, 10 months ago is when I actually played it, and I played it hard, and I really did enjoy it. So if they're kind of doing that in the Dune world, it's definitely one I want to look at. I had a lot of fun with the Conan game.
All right, next up we have The Outer Worlds 2. This one I'm very excited for. We just got the trailer at the Game Awards. I absolutely love Obsidian and what they've been doing. This feels like a better Fallout 3 or Fallout 4. The world feels less jankety in The Outer Worlds 1. The Outer Worlds 2 looks to be the same kind of fun world that you can go to different planets and visit different stations and just have a ton of fun. Your choices are going to matter. It's got the really fun perk system built into it, fun combat. I'm very excited for this game. Jim, what's your thoughts on The Outer Worlds 2?
Well, they made Fallout New Vegas, which is one of the most popular Fallouts. And when I first played Outer Worlds, I didn't know what to expect, and it really had that. It had that Bethesda kind of Fallout vibe, but cleaner. And what I thought was cool about the humor, like you said, is it was kind of like Pit Boy and all that sort of thing. It was like this happy, cheerful '50s kind of optimism in a very, very dark environment. And so it was kind of like that juxtaposition of the silliness with the dark topics underneath. And I thought it was a really cool game, and I really liked it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the new one.
All right, next up on our list is Tales of the Shire. This is a Lord of the Rings game where you are doing city management or town management of a hobbit village is what it looks like. I know when I was first reading about this or when I heard about it, I was kind of getting excited for it. Trailer kind of let me down a little bit. It wasn't really what I was expecting, but it's hard to tell if a game what it's going to be like from a trailer a lot of times, especially on these style of games, because you don't really understand. Like it's not about the action or any of that stuff. It's more about the management and the placement and how much you like to decorate, different things like that. While I'm not sure I'm going to be fully in love with this game, I am intrigued. So, Jim, what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, I mean, one of the first books I ever read as a kid was The Hobbit, and then I read The Lord of the Rings, and I became addicted basically to the world, and I love, the subject matter. Um, I want Tales of the Shire to be good. I want it to be a world that you like to go to and live in and casual. Weta's making it. Weta Games. I just don't know for sure. After watching the trailers, what we're gonna get. I hope there's a lot there. I hope again, because I'm a fan, I want to see it be a solid game and something, even though it's a casual, low key game, I think is what it's going to be. I hope it's something that calls you back and you really just want to play it.
All right, other notable releases that we're not going to talk much about. We have a brand new Monster Hunter game coming out. It's called Wilds. It's actually coming out February 28th. I know people love the Monster Hunter series. I have just not played any of the recent ones. I did enjoy, I think Monster Hunter Worlds was the last one I played, and I've heard they've only got better. So that's another big game coming out that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. And who knows if by some miracle, if I'm looking for a game to play February 28th, which I don't know how that'd be possible, I may check out Wilds, or maybe it's one of those games you pick up on the summer sale and play, several months after release. But I know that's coming out February the 28th. Another one is Death Stranding 2. I know this is Death Stranding 1 won all kinds of awards. I've always wanted to play it. I just never have for some reason. So that's another big title coming out. Another game that we have is Slay the Spire 2, kind of in the same boat. I didn't play it forever, and I know it kind of redefined the genre of the roguelike, like that style of roguelike gaming, and a lot of games came out after it that kind of did the same style because of its success, and that's supposed to be out later this year, Slay the Spire 2. All right, next up is a game called Soulmates. This kind of looks like an Overcooked game in space. Always a lot of fun if you've never played Overcooked before. It's a fantastic game if you have some friends to play with because chaos ensues and it's always a good time. There's been several games in this genre. There was like a moving game and obviously a cooking game and several others. But this looks like a lot of fun. I have some high hopes it'll be kind of a sleeper hit this year. Another one I have on my list is Doom, The Dark Ages. I am not a Doom fan. Jim, I know we talked earlier. You're not either. I'm not really that excited for this game, but I know a lot of people like the Doom series, so that it's coming out later this year.
It looks solid. I mean, I watched some videos on it. It looks really good.
Those games always do look good, don't they?
Yeah, it really does.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, another one is the new Elden Ring Nightreign. I have never played Elden Ring. I'm not a big fan of the Soul-like games, but Jim, I know you have. Are you excited for this one?
Yes, I think it's going to be pretty cool. I really didn't know it was coming. I got through Elden Ring, and I think Souls-like games maybe aren't for me, but Elden Ring was because you could walk away and reapproach a problem. This one's also co-op, correct?
Yes.
So having someone there to help you helps you get through those Souls games, because you're sharing the pain together and you're screaming at the screen together and those sort of things. And then even though it can be frustrating, that sort of thing makes it fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it could be a good time.
All right, and the last one I know, I've never played the original. It got really good reviews, but Ghost of Yotei, or Yotita, however you want to say it, is also a big release coming out. I think this one, console only, maybe a PS5 game, but I know the first game got a lot of hype and a lot of love. All right, Jim, is there anything else you want to wrap up? Any other games that I missed that you are excited about?
I'm excited for the next indie game that surprises us and just comes out of nowhere. That's what I'm excited about. I'll add that to the bottom of the list.
Helldivers 2 that comes out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Small studio that creates something that the big studios are afraid to do.
And there's always several every year, which is exciting.
Yep.
All right, everybody, that wraps up our video. Hopefully you're excited about these games as we are. Leave your comments below. Let us know if we missed anything or what your opinions are on some of the games that we did mention. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget that subscribe button, and have yourself a great day.